What was your "this person is on another level of stupid" moment?
I locked my purse with my keys and cell phone in my apartment. I went to the office to ask maintenance to let me in. The woman at the desk said she would call maintenance and asked for a phone number they could reach me at. I said there wasn't one because my cell phone was locked in my apartment. She insisted she needed a number. I said I could give her the number, but that I wouldn't be able to answer if they called. She suggested I get my phone out of my apartment so that I could answer when they called. I rolled my eyes at her and said if I could get in my apartment to get my cell phone, I wouldn't need maintenance to let me in. She never did understand me. But maintenance did show up 10 minutes later. Update: since a lot of people are asking, you don't need a key to lock the door to the apartment, just to unlock it. On the way out the door, I turned the lock on the back of the doorknob and then pulled the door shut, locking the door. I had put my keys in my purse because I was also carrying a laptop bag and a few other things. I thought I picked up my purse with the other bags, but I hadn't. Yes, I know I was stupid for locking myself out. I once worked in a Midwestern grocery store deli, and I was trying to explain to a woman that the name brand and generic brand of the macaroni salad that we carried were in fact identical. The woman yelled at me saying she could only have the generic brand because one is made with mayo and the other is made with mayonnaise, and I don't like mayo. When I tried to explain that mayo is an abbreviation of mayonnaise, she just said, "I'm from the South. I know my food," and tooted away. This was my first experience in retail where I learned what many customers would be like. Seasons were changing, so we put a lot of shirts we had to get rid of in the front and made them 50% off. I was working the register when a woman came up to buy her things. I rang her up and could see a look on her face like something was wrong. That's when the following happened. "Lady, why is this so much?" Me, "Pardon me?" "Lady, this should only be $10, not $20. I thought that maybe her item was on sale, so I asked if she could point out the sign because I wasn't aware of it. It was a small store, and we didn't have to walk anywhere. "Lady, this sign here." Me, "This sign says that all shirts are 50% off." Lady, "Yes, so why is this full price?" Me, "This is a hack." My wife's cousin and her husband/not baby daddy of her unborn child fell on self-induced hard times and needed a place to stay for a bit. We set up a queen-sized air mattress in the living room for them. For 3 weeks, I woke up to go to work, and every morning saw them sleeping on it sideways with their legs hanging off the edge. Then one day she asked me to buy her a bigger air mattress because this one was hard on their backs. I told her to turn her body. The fucking thing even has a built-in pillow on one end. Her response was that then they couldn't see the TV. Then fucking turn the air mattress to face the TV. That's the story of how I became an asshole to the trailer trash side of the family. The bad part is that it's only one of many stories. The husband was a cook at Applebee's. The baby daddy was a cook at Applebee's, and her new husband was another cook from the same fucking Applebee's. All working together. Spent 7 years working for TSA. Had a pretty sweet detail where I would assist passengers who did not have ID or assist TSA agents if they had questions about the validity of the given ID. I get a call on the radio asking for assistance in verifying an ID. I come over and ask what the issue is. Agent hands me a driver's license and says, "Can't accept this Canadian ID." Hearing this, I assume it's expired or the wrong name. I take a look and see that it is an Alaskan driver's license. I quickly approve the passenger and send them on their way. I then spent 10 minutes explaining that A, Canadian DLs are acceptable according to TSA regulations, and B, Alaska has never been a Canadian territory. This coworker has a master's degree in mathematics and served 25 years in the U.S. Air Force. I didn't realize my childhood pet rabbit Rosie hadn't really gone to live on a farm until I was in my early 20s and saw the Sopranos episode where Tony comes to the same realization about his dog. I asked the first girl to ever slept with me to marry me soon afterwards, We were teenagers. I drove a snowmobile straight off a cliff and broke my back when I was 15. I was installing an electric dog fence in my teens, and I had to do something with my hands, so I put the electric leads between my teeth for a moment, activated the power, and shocked myself in the face. The electricity clamped my jaw muscles shut, and I had to rip the wires out of my teeth. When I was a kid, I wanted to make skid marks on my bike the way all the other kids could, so I rode as fast as I could down a hill and slammed on my brakes and flew right over the handlebars. The paramedic patiently explained to me I had the wrong type of tires on my bike as he made sure I wouldn't die. One time a professor opened up to me after the death of a friend, telling me that he got through the hardest times in his life by reading poetry, and I didn't know what to say, so I went, "Yeah, I hate poetry." When I was 15, I was driving my dad's 6WD truck with a 36-foot trailer on it, with he and his friend in the trailer, and there was a turtle in the road, so I panicked and swerved and put the whole thing in a ditch. When I was a kid, we had a subtraction math test, but I accidentally did them all addition, so I just changed all the to plus and hoped the teacher wouldn't notice. When I was in my early 20s, I started a new job, and to try to ingratiate myself to the office staff, I put up a whiteboard, and a couple times a week, I'd put up a new movie quote and try to have people guess it. One day, I put up a line from Nick and Nora's Infinite playlist. "I love you so much it's retarded." The next day, the board was gone, and someone informed me the owner and CEO had a mentally handicapped child. Until a few months ago, I didn't think U.S. mail-in ballots got counted unless the election was close. When I was 15, I was batting in baseball and took a pitch to my knuckle, which then broke. I kept batting, wondering why it hurt so much. As a teen, I was in gym class and wanted to try the parallel. I'm 6 feet 4 inches and they weren't set high enough, so I came down and hyperextended both my knees as my feet hit the ground. I forgot to take a giant family heirloom hunting knife out of my pocket before going through airport security in Vietnam and panicked and threw it in the trash. There's more, but I want to go to bed. Emile quit her job when they told her they plan on firing her and give her an additional 6 months of pay thanks to her nearly 27 years of experience with the company. She quit and said she didn't want it because, "I don't like money unless I earned it." But you worked there for nearly 30 years. You earned it. Few weeks later, she tried to sell her house before she had bought another house. She couldn't get one because she didn't have a job, but thought if she sold her current house for just $45,000, she could use it as a down payment and not worry about monthly bills on a $250,000 home. She then tried to move in with her mom. Her mom lives in a retirement home, so instead she moved in with her brother after she was told she couldn't move into a retirement home. Months before this, she sold the pool and bought a new one because she didn't want to clean the water. She thought a new pool would come with fresh water. One time she asked me to help with a project and I noticed I need pliers to grab something. I asked her to grab some pliers and she came back with a hammer saying that, "Oh, I thought this was a pliers." Wouldn't believe me or her daughter that the guy on the internet she is talking to isn't really a US medic in Iraq that's also a multi-millionaire and wants to marry her but needs her bank account info. She lost a lot of money that week but still doesn't believe he was a scammer. Instead, that a terrorist intercepted her text message and email. She's still waiting for him to come pick her up, LOL. Another time, she sold her car that was paid off just a few days prior because she thought it meant it no longer has insurance, so she had to get a new car. She didn't understand why her electric bill was so high. I had to explain to her she needs to turn off the lights and not leave them on 24/7, and I was told, "But then I can't see at night when I'm sleeping." Yes, that's how sleeping usually works. She didn't know people outside of our state, Alabama, had electricity. She thought even the rest of the USA was without it, and that places like NYC was just in the movies. Whenever she voted, she just picked people with the funny names because, "I'm a woman. My vote doesn't count yet." She didn't believe me when I tried to explain that the airspace that planes fly in is very large. That's why multiple planes can fly at the same time. They're not limited like a road. One time she sold the lawnmower because it ran out of gas, and when she went to the gas station, she couldn't figure out which pump has lawnmower gas, not car gas. This was her first time doing it on her own without paying someone. Previously, she paid a guy $800 every 2 weeks to come out and mow her grass, but only the roughly 40 by 80 feet small plot of grass she had. She paid another guy to come out and pressure wash, using her pressure washer, $300 a week to come out and pressure wash the house every single Friday. If it was her daughter's birthday, she always wanted her daughter to spend time with her because I gave birth to you. So your birthday is more important to me than to you. She also thought that age equals intelligence, and that every single one of her birthdays she got smarter. It's why she didn't see a point in finishing high school when she was younger, and why I, being only 27 with a degree and my experience in my field, doesn't mean I know what I'm talking about because, well, you're younger. I know much more than you. She doesn't eat corn because when she was 7 she lost a tooth eating a fake plastic corn on the cob, and now corn scares her. I have so much about my MIL, LOL. When me and my wife were planning the wedding, she specifically said, "My mom is not invited." I don't think we really need a reason why. You can't ask a question like this and not include this gem. It's not uncommon as a teacher to have students who are a bit behind the curve in certain aspects, but 99% of the time they are keen on something. They might not understand how to identify a noun or what theme is, but they somehow know how to make a mean plate of nachos. You learn pretty quick to not judge fish for their tree climbing ability, you know? I thought this was the rule when I was teaching until I met Kevin. Kevin isn't his real name, but it doesn't matter because he can't spell it anyway. Kevin was a student of mine during my last year of teaching. He came to my classroom with very little to show for his academic past. He had moved a few times and thus was missing a lot of typical test scores that we used to try and ballpark their ability. Don't worry, it was a ballpark. We didn't make major decisions until we actually had a chance to talk and work with the student for a bit. I thought that's fine. I'll just do some one-on-one with Kevin and see what's up. One-on-one with Kevin was like conversing with someone who'd forgotten everything in a freak, if not impossible, amnesia incident. There was no evidence that he had learned anything past the 2nd grade. And now he was in 9th grade. Flabbergasted. I figured we needed to get more serious with this. If he was going to be in my class, I needed to know why and how. I decided to meet with him, his guidance counselor, his parents, and another teacher to see what was really going on. This is where it all became clear. It was by some incredible fluke that his family hadn't been wiped off the face of the earth years ago. Odds are his entire heritage was based on blind luck and some type of sick divine intervention that saves his family every time a threat presents itself. Kevin was the genetic pinnacle of this null achievement. Even my instructional lead, a woman who could find a redeeming trait in a Balrog, failed to see any reason this kid or his family should be alive today. So here's a list of events that made it abundantly clear that God exists, and he's laughing uncontrollably. Kevin frequently forgot when / class was. On more than one occasion, I had to retrieve him from other classrooms. Kevin ate an entire 24-pack of crayons, puked, and then did it again the next day. This is 9th grade. I have no idea where he got crayons. Kevin's dad wrote tuition checks and mailed them to me, his English teacher. This was a public school. When I gave it back to Kevin, voided, to give to his dad with a brief note explaining that this is a public school, Kevin got in trouble for trying to spend it at 711 after school. Kevin was removed from the culinary arts program after leaving a cutting board on the gas stove and starting a fire, twice. Kevin threw his lunch at the school resource officer and tried to run away. He ran into a door and insisted it wasn't him. Kevin stole my phone during class. I called it. It rang. He denied that it was ringing. Not that it wasn't his. Not that he did it. No, he denied that the phone was actually ringing. He tried it 3 times before the end of the year. Kevin called the basketball coach a motherfucking bitch during gym. Basketball tryouts were that afternoon. Kevin tried out. It didn't go well. Kevin's mom could never remember which school he went to. She missed several meetings because she drove to other schools, none of which he ever went to. Kevin tassed himself in the neck before a football game. Kevin kept a bottle of orange Kool-Aid in his backpack for about 4 months. He thought it would turn into alcohol. He drank it during homeroom and threw up. Kevin say the N-word a lot. Kevin was white. The high school was 84% black. Kevin got beat up a lot. Kevin stole another student's iPhone and tried to sell it back to them. Kevin didn't understand that his grade was dependent on tests, quizzes, homework, classwork, and participation. Kevin finished his first semester with a 3% average. He tried to bribe me with $11. Kevin spit on a girl and said, "You should get out of those wet clothes." The girl was the Spanish student teacher. Kevin didn't know dogs and cats were different animals. Kevin tried to download porn onto a computer in the library. At the circulation desk, while he was logged on, Kevin asked a girl to prom. He was in 9th grade and freshmen don't go to prom, by asking for her phone number and then texting her his address. Kevin got gum in his hair, constantly. Kevin regularly tried to cheat on assignments by knocking the pile over, grabbing one before I had picked them all up, and then writing its name on it wherever there was room. Kevin had several allergies, but neither his parents nor he could remember what they were. They were very concerned that the holiday party, it's high school, we don't have those, would have peanuts. When they finally got a doctor's note, he was allergic to amoxicillin. Kevin and his parents took a trip to Nassau. How the fuck did they even get airline tickets? And forgot all their luggage at home. I didn't believe him when he told me until I talked to him mom, who told me first thing when I saw her at the bi-weekly meeting. Kevin's grandfather apparently died in a chainsaw accident. I can only assume God was looking the other way that day. And this is the end of today's video. I hope you liked it, and don't forget to comment an anecdote or experience similar to the topic of the video. Leave your like, share if you like the video, and lastly don't forget to activate the little bell so you don't miss any of our daily videos. Bye bye.